Sometimes you have a situation like this where you might have bricks or wood or something that is at an angle, and you want to clone something out, and you're like, wow, that's going to be so hard. Like maybe we want to take this hole out, or maybe we want to clean up some of this white brick and put regular brick back in here, and you're like, that would be almost impossible to clone that stuff out. Well, actually, it's very, very easy if you use the vanishing point clone. So here's how you do that. First of all, put a blank layer above your image that you're going to clone, and then you go into the tool of the vanishing point. Now, vanishing point is underneath your filter menu, and you click on the vanishing point, and it's going to bring up the grid. So the first thing is the grid tool over here. Right here, it kind of defaults to this grid tool. So the first thing you need to do is make sure that you cover the area that you want to clone with the tool. So, I mean, with the grid. So we're going to make a grid that follows the brick. So I'm going to put a point here, and then I'm going to put a point following the brick down here. And then I'm going to come up here to like maybe somewhere I can see. I don't want to be off the page. Let's see here. Let's just do it right here. And then I'm going to follow this one over to here. Okay, so you can see I have this blue grid here now. Now, I want to work up here, but I put this grid way down here. That's okay. See these little handles right here? I can grab these little handles and I can pull this grid up, and I can pull this grid down. And now I have what is my working plane. Okay. And now what I want to do is I'm going to zoom in here a little bit so you can see me work. I'm going to zoom in just to this area right here so you can see me work. So I put the plane or the grid on. Now, if you go over here to the tools, you see that you have this little clone tool right here. This is inside the vanishing point. And what you're going to do is you're going to use this little tool, clone tool, just exactly like you would use the regular clone tool over in regular Photoshop. But it gives you a little hint up here. It says Alt-click in the plane to set the source point for the clone. Once the source point is set, click and drag to paint or clone. Okay? So we want, let's try to take this little line here and this hole out. And we'll put some bricks like from right here up here. So I'm going to Alt-click right here. And you'll see, if you can see, I'll bring it up here. See how I've got a sample inside my clone? And so all I need to do is line up those bricks with another brick. And then I'm going to paint. Oh, I painted too far. I painted right into the original hole. So I'm going to click again, and then I'm going to come up here. And see how it angled those bricks for me in perspective based on the size of that grid. Now, if I were to take a sample from over here and paint over here, it would reduce the angle to match the grid. See how it made the bricks smaller? Because it knows that the blue grid over here is getting smaller. Of course, I painted down into that, so you wouldn't do that. But even though these bricks over here that I sampled from were bigger, it resizes them for me over here. Is that like so cool? So if I were to do the opposite, I wanted to take my sample from over here, take this little sample right here, and I wanted to put it over here. See, it even knows that I came over here onto the grid, and it's going to make those bricks bigger. Is that like so cool? And then when you're done, you just say, okay. Don't forget to say okay. And when you come back, you can see that the sample is up here on this other layer. This is where the samples are. They're up here on this cloned layer. And if you wanted to, you could merge them all back together, and then you've got your final image cloned in perspective.